Julie Andrews once said that the greatest gift her career gave her was never the fame. It was the people. And when you hear which 5 names she carries closest to her heart, you'll understand exactly what she means. Most of us remember her as the woman who made us believe a spoonful of sugar could fix anything, or that the hills truly were alive. But behind all those iconic performances was a woman quietly collecting something far more valuable than awards. She was collecting people. Extraordinary, irreplaceable people who shaped who she became. The first was Walt Disney. When Julie arrived to discuss Mary Poppins, she expected a powerful Hollywood executive. What she found instead was a man with curious eyes and a warm, genuine way of listening that made everyone in the room feel heard. Walt wasn't chasing spectacle, he was chasing honesty. Even in a story about a flying nanny, he wanted truth. What struck Julie most was how effortlessly he redirected praise toward the animators, the songwriters, the crew pulling all-nighters. She carried that lesson forward for the rest of her life. Greatness wears humility remarkably well. Then there was Christopher Plummer. Their friendship didn't begin smoothly. They were quite different people, with very different paths into the business. He was classically trained, sharp-witted, and not exactly thrilled about singing on Austrian hillsides. But somewhere between waiting for the lighting to change and talking through long, quiet afternoons on set, something real took root. Christopher had one of the quickest minds she'd ever encountered. He could shift from passionate literary discussion to a perfectly timed absurd joke in the space of a breath. When he died, Julie didn't just lose a celebrated colleague. She lost the friend who had made one of the greatest chapters of her life feel warmer. Carol Burnett brought something different. She brought lightness. In an industry that can be quietly isolating, Carol had an instinct for knowing when someone needed encouragement, and she delivered it without fanfare. When Julie lost much of her singing voice following surgery, a loss that shook her sense of identity to its core, Carol never looked at her with pity. She reminded her that what audiences had always loved was never just the voice, it was the person behind it. That kind of friendship, Julie reflects, isn't measured in headlines. It's measured in the hardest moments. Blake Edwards, her husband, was her safest place. Not the premieres or the awards. What she remembers are mornings over tea, evenings laughing at things no one else would understand, walks that started about films and somehow ended debating whether they'd fed the dogs. When she struggled most after losing her voice, Blake didn't offer grand speeches. He simply stayed. He saw possibility where she could only see loss. And then there was Audrey Hepburn, someone whose elegance the world admired, but whose private warmth Julie treasured far more. Audrey listened like nothing else mattered. In her final years, she quietly devoted herself to children in forgotten corners of the world, not for applause, but because she believed every child deserved dignity. 5 people, 5 completely different kinds of love. And every one of them a reminder that a life well lived isn't measured by what you achieved. It's measured by who walked beside you. If this moved you even a little, please like and subscribe. There are so many more stories worth telling together.